Hello, everybody. Lucas Haneman here, and welcome to this week's episode of Guitar Tone Tuesday. On today's episode, I am dabbling with Nashville tuning. Nashville tuning. Just listen to this. Oh, it is so beautiful. I think the best description I ever heard of Nashville tuning is someone said it sounds like the sun glistening down on freshly fallen snow. Right now in Canada, I totally feel that in the middle of winter here. Oh, but man, I gotta say, it's beautiful. And one thing, in the year 2023, one of my ambitions on Guitar Tone Tuesday is to talk to you guys about ways to stay inspired as guitar players and things that you can do that aren't just gear centric. Things that you can do that don't cost much or any money to do to really stay inspired as guitar players. After all, that was the whole purpose of this show in my head when I first created it, and I realized that it's been largely about gear. And it's cool to talk about gear. I'm going to keep talking about gear too, but not necessarily every single week. So today's episode is about $7 episode. If you want to pick up a set of these strings and try them, maybe you have an extra acoustic guitar at home, and it's just sitting there in the corner collecting dust, or maybe you just have a couple of guitars and you like the sound of this, and you want to give it a try. It's definitely a reversible thing if you don't get too invested in making sure your guitar is set up perfectly or what have you. This guitar right here is my Yamaha Deluxe Folk, which is a dreadnought Yamaha guitar from the 1970s. You guys have seen this on Guitar Tone Tuesday before, where I shooted it out with a Martin HD28, and the second episode of Guitar Tone Tuesday, way back, was about Yamaha guitars, and I featured this guitar in the show. So for those of you who've been following the channel, you know what this guitar usually sounds like. And today, it sounds very different. It sounds very different. And as I say, it's only about $7 worth of difference. Right before Christmas this past year, I had been expressing to my wife that the only thing I really wanted for Christmas was a set of Nashville strings. Nashville strings. It's something I've been hearing about for a long time. I love the Nashville guitar players. I'm a big fan of Guthrie Trapp and Uncle Larry, Tom Bukovac, all those guys, and I follow them on YouTube, and I've been hearing a lot about this tuning through a lot of people, and I've always wanted to give it a try, but I discovered, as I say, maybe it was in October or so of 2022, that you could buy a set of Nashville strung strings. And what Nashville strings are is they come obviously from Nashville. The idea of it comes from Nashville. But as the story goes, there was a session musician who was on a session one day, and he wanted a high G sound. He wanted some more sparkle in his guitar. So he took the high G string from a 12-string set and slapped that onto a regular acoustic guitar. And he liked the jangly sound he got as a result. Fast forward a couple years later, and eventually he thought, well, what if I take all the high strings from a 12-string set and put them on my regular guitar? So for those of you who don't know, a 12-string guitar usually has a high E and a low E. This is the high E here. Then it has a high A and a low A. That's the high A. It has a high D and a low D. That's the high D. As I say, a high G and a low G. That's the high G. And then a regular B, albeit slightly lighter tension, and a regular high E, albeit slightly lighter tension than like a standard light gauge guitar set that we usually put on our acoustic guitars, light or medium gauge, right? So what you get is this really cool sound, even just with the open strings: high E, high A, high D, high G, normal B, normal high E. Just listen to that for a sec. That's an E minor 7 sus chord. And it usually is with standard strings, but now it just sounds like a grand piano. Because of the range, again, that G string is high and the B string is lower than the G, which is not typical, right? So you end up with these interesting things when you play certain chords between those two strings. That's so cool, right? Then you can play normal chords though too, right? C, G, D, A, C, G, C, G, A minor, C, B minor, and even those sound so cool. It's really, really sweet. And this is the recording trick. A lot of people, if they don't have a 12 string, what they'll do is they'll record a track with a standard acoustic guitar, and then they'll overdub the Nashville strung guitar on top of it. That's actually one thing I'm going to do for you guys before the video is over. At the very end of this video, I'm gonna do something with a standard acoustic guitar and maybe a loop, and then I'm gonna put this guitar on top of it, just so you guys can hear that, because I think it's fascinating. So it's a way of getting a colossal 12-string sound, but without having the inconvenience of having to, I shouldn't say inconvenience, like, how would I put this? You can do a lot of mixing tricks with two guitar tracks that you can't do with one. So you could do a straight double on this guitar, or you could play something slightly different with it, with a Nashville strung guitar than your regular 6-string guitar part, and you can pan them off or things like that when you're mixing, and it's just fascinating to me. It's absolutely fascinating. But I do want to know in the comment section below, is this something that you guys have dabbled with before? And again, if you have an extra acoustic guitar kicking around that maybe you're not playing a heck of a lot, this is a very cool thing to try. I mean, I'm only on day 2 with this right now. You guys have probably seen the Shut Up and Pluck It I did with this guitar. And some of those kind of crazy dissonant chords. Like that. But I'm actually shooting this the same day I shot that episode of Shut Up and Pluck It, because I'm just so inspired by this tuning, and it's really inspiring me personally to play different things and to pick up this guitar a lot, and it's a lot of fun. I sold my 12-string recently, so this is now going to be, when I want the 12-string effect, I'm going to use this for that, to achieve that sound. So, as I say, it's a $7 adjustment. You may need to get your guitar action changed, depending on how your string action usually is. This guitar had medium action, so it's working out really well. I didn't have to do anything. The neck has remained pretty straight, because these strings actually have less tension than a typical set of light gauge acoustic strings. So, but kind of marginally less. So These are the D'Addario Nashville strings, by the way. So not very expensive, and they didn't screw this guitar up. You know that the nut slots are still quite wide. That's the only thing you might run into with your guitar, but give them a try. You know, it's not an expensive thing to try, and if you don't like it, then take them right off, right? But anyways, I'm going to play you guys out on that clip where I layer this with another guitar. Let me know in the comment section below what your experiences have been, or perhaps will be, with Nashville tuning after watching this. And yes, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We'll see everybody again very, very soon. Okay, and now we are going to play over top of that with the Nashville strum and guitar. Here we go.